Hey, CrossFitters, welcome back. It's Coach Bob here, CrossFit Glen Burnie, Maryland Strong Fitness and Nutrition. Today, what we're looking at is reasons why some people might be having trouble putting on muscle, building strength. So I found this post on Instagram, posted fairly recently by Carolyn Fitness, Kako Wellness. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, Carolyn. We're going to take a look at the 5 or 6 different reasons she gives, see if we agree, see if we can add any insight into these. All right, guys. So reasons why we might be having a difficult time putting on muscle. So the first one that she has here today is, you are not eating enough. Okay. Definitely agree with this. The nutrition that we have, the way that we're fueling our body is number one. You know, you have to make sure that you're fueling your body properly. And she makes a point that a lot of people are not getting enough protein in their diet, or they have some restrictions in their diet, or they've got a very restrictive diet, and we're just not getting the nutrients that we need to support our goals. And so when we look at a person's goals, we want to look at that first and then come up with a plan that provides the right tools, the right nutrition, the right workouts, the right coaching for us to get to where we're trying to get to. And so I would definitely agree with this, that not eating enough protein is probably one of the things that really is holding people back. We know that when we go to the gym, there's a process called protein muscle breakdown that has to be balanced out with protein muscle synthesis. And protein muscle synthesis requires proteins, and a fair number of these proteins, the essential proteins, come from our diet. Our body can't manufacture them ourselves. So if we're not taking care of our nutrition, it's going to really limit what we can do with our goals. So number one, and I agree with that, putting that one number one. All right, what's she got number 2? Okay, her next point here is on not incorporating progressive overload. That would be the process where you're increasing the amount of weight for an exercise over time. Your muscles will grow as you get stronger, and make sure you're pushing yourself. And so I want to relate this to CrossFit a little bit because we might not see the traditional reps and sets every day when we come into the gym. And so it's a little more challenging for us to be assured that we are getting that progressive overload. So when we think of a CrossFit workout, other than the heavy days where we really do have an emphasis on a strength focus and a workout that is strength focused, the other days might be high intensity, interval style workouts, or long endurance type workouts, or other kinds of things like that, or little gymnastics. And so the main point here is to make sure that we are not settling into the comfort zone, right? Doing the same scaling option the same way over and over again. Every day that we come in is an opportunity for us to challenge ourselves, and we should be working with our coaches to find those things in the workout, those scaling options in the workout that are appropriately challenging us. And appropriately challenging us doesn't mean it's easy, or that it's something that we can necessarily just check the box on. We have to make sure that we continually find ways to challenge ourselves over time. CrossFit does do that by the nature of a lot of the workouts, but we also have to be an active participant in it. If we're finding that we're getting into our comfort zone, we have to ask ourselves, can I push the intensity a little bit more here? Can I change the band I'm using for my pull-up assistance? Can I change the reps that I'm doing in the workout? Or, push a little bit harder, or try adding 5 or 2.5 pounds or 10 pounds on, this movement or that movement. So if you find yourself stuck in the comfort zone, my goal, a tip there would be to have that progression and to build on your successes. Okay, next item that she has here is you are not sleeping enough. So we agree with this. There are so many good things that happen when we allow ourselves to sleep a good night, right? So people don't often realize, she says, that you don't build muscle in the gym. You break it down in the gym and you build tissue when you're resting and recovering. So we talked about the protein muscle breakdown and protein muscle synthesis. That primarily is happening during recovery, right? So I know I was working out with my uncle like 30 years ago, and after the workout, you don't necessarily feel strong. Your muscles feel fatigued, right? Well, you've done all that hard work. You do have to support it with good nutrition as well as that rest and recovery. Make sure you're getting a good night's sleep, because that's where the magic is really going to happen. If you're not getting your sleep, then different hormones will get involved, and it's going to really take away from the recovery process, and your goals are going to be limited. It's going to take a lot longer to get to where you want to get to, if you can get there at all. So do make sure you take care of the sleep. Next tip that we have here, you are overtraining and not including rest days. And so this is going to differ based on different people. If you're just starting out in CrossFit, we're recommending, trying to get a consistency in your workouts, something you can consistently maintain over weeks versus, all or nothing, right? So if you come in and you're doing a lot more than what you've done before, and you're not giving yourself enough time to rest and recover, then the soreness is going to be on top of soreness, and the quality of your training is going to go down. We would much rather have someone maybe only work out 3 days a week and use those off days to rest and recover, so that we can be consistent in the gym. And then if we're consistent in our activities and our workouts, then we can start to think about adding a 4th day, a 5th day, and things like that. So that's kind of relating this a little bit to folks who are following a CrossFit lifestyle, to make sure we're not overtraining and to make sure we're including those rest days. Now, that being said, we do find that you can work out 6 or 7 times a week, but you do have to build up to that. And with a well thought out program like we have, then we're not going to be overtraining any one area, because you will have days where they're longer endurance type days that are heavier strength building days that are interval days that, on and on the workouts. And so folks will find that over time, that building on their successes and adding that day in there when they find that they're recovering well is a good way to go. And so we definitely agree with that. Make sure you're not overtraining, and to include your rest days. Next tip she has here is you're not being consistent. You're constantly skipping the gym and or changing your workouts. So the main point that she has here is the consistency. And she gives an example of, let's say you go 4 days a week, 1 week, and then the next week you don't even go at all. Your body needs to see that consistency. You are what you repeatedly do. And if you repeatedly skip days at the gym, take whole weeks off and stuff like that, then your body will quickly realize that that's the kind of training that you're doing. And so you won't make progress toward your goals that way. Consistency is much more important. We're building on, we're making these changes in our body, and your body needs to see that consistency to maintain and build. There's a concept called the concept of supercompensation that is pretty popular within strength training, but it equally applies to other kinds of training as well, which basically talks about how as you combine day after day after day, your body's performance will tend to degrade. And if you then take a day off, it gives your body a chance to recover. Your body will supercompensate if it's done well where you're now more capable when you come back into the gym after that rest day. Then you get back into your training, your quality of your training is high, and then you take that next recovery day and you see over time that super compensation builds, and it's small builds over a long time that make a big change. Now, where people can get into trouble with that is if they overreach and their training level is high, and maybe they don't take that recovery day. The quality of the training degrades. The compensation is not super compensation. I guess it's going to be, what would you say? Not super compensation. It would be undercompensated. And then you try to get back into the gym because you're like, hey, I got to be there. I got to work out, but you didn't get that recovery in there. And so over time, you're going to have a less and less quality. You're going to feel more and more sore, more and more tired, and you're going to get into an overtraining cycle. Now, where this fits into the constant, somebody who's constantly skipping whole weeks is you never can build on your successes because you've taken a whole week off. So whatever you gained in those first couple of days gets washed out in the fact that you've taken a whole week off, and now you got to start all over again. And we know that it's so much harder to get started again. The energy is required to get back in the gym after taking a week off is 5 times harder. So you're better off making small gains over a long time. All right, Carolyn, you got that one right. I agree with that one. All right, so we're moving on. Next tip. You're doing too much cardio. She does make a few more points in her post, but we're going to move on to this one where she says you're doing too much cardio. She says that you need to emphasize weightlifting to put on muscle. Yes, cardio is important for heart health and endurance. However, doing too much cardio will impede your muscle recovery. I kind of don't 100% agree because I found that in CrossFit, you can actually have your cake and eat it too. You can combine in a higher intensity exercise where you're getting the benefits of the aerobic endurance built into workouts that also include the weight training. Now, if you are a strength athlete and strength is your number one thing and you're not really engaged in sport, it's really all about how much you can lift, then you want to pursue strength. But 99.5% of the people out there are not in that category. We're looking at building muscle mass, improving body composition, finding workouts that they can consistently do so that we can be active and have nutrition supporting all of that. And so whether a person's goal is improved performance or getting stronger or losing weight and all of those things, what we find is the combination of aerobic endurance type exercises with weightlifting exercises really builds a better body. And having done this for 10 years, what I can kind of offer up is that you find that there are going to be muscle groups that are neglected if we're always moving in the same planes of motion, if we're always using the same machines, if we're always doing the same routine reps and sets, even though we do have that progressive load, we're missing out on some accessories, some muscle fibers are getting neglected, and we're also we're missing out on the building capacity under lots of different conditions. And we call that segmented capacity. So where we are strong, like we could do, let's say, a strong deadlift, but if we haven't combined that with aerobic fitness as well, then we're going to find that when life does present opportunities where we need to do both, we need to lift heavy and under a high heart rate, then that capacity is not there. It tends to be segmented. So when you're doing CrossFit workouts, guys, even though you might not see the reps and sets showing up on every day, again, you have that progression which builds on the weightlifting movements in where you're working out with a higher heart rate and where you have movements that require more explosive power, speed, the other kinds of things, agility and coordination and whatnot, where we're really building across multiple systems in the body, or some folks call that functional training, so that it can relate more to life. So not that one way is right or wrong. It's just that, cardio doesn't have to be, you don't really have to have one or the other. And I think Carolyn would agree with this too, because she says, you're doing too much cardio. So oftentimes we find in our busy lives, there's only so many hours in the day to pursue the activities that we like. And so a lot of times people, if they haven't done CrossFit, they think of, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work on, the weightlifting, or I'm going to go and do cardio, or I'll go to the gym and I'll do both. And I'm going to do, 20 minutes of cardio, then I'll do my weightlifting, or I'll do it the other way around. And it's true that if you only have so much time in the day and you put too much emphasis on one side or the other, you will find that one or the other will suffer. And so you do have to kind of prioritize between those. When you are following a CrossFit lifestyle, what folks find out is that they're getting those kinds of activities are already blended together for them in a well thought out series of workouts throughout their weeks and months, where we are lifting heavy some days and where we are building power, speed, explosiveness with submaximal loads on a barbell or kettlebell or dumbbells and things like that, as well as getting some body weight type exercise. And so all of these things kind of build together. And the functional aspect of it, of building strength that crosses multiple muscle joints, does play out in success in life. So guys, I do hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me. And Carolyn, thank you for providing these. I mostly agree with most of them. I just want to provide a little bit of insight, especially if folks are doing a CrossFit lifestyle, of how they can be thinking about building muscle and putting on muscle. Take care, guys. Have fun. Hope you're staying active. Hope you're eating a lot of good food. Take care and peace.